I'm really excited for our guest today, Tara Schulenberg. I have been following Elevate the Globe for a while now, and I am so honored to have Tara here today. Hello, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Nikki. It's amazing to be here, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. So Tara and I were talking a little bit before I hit record. I have been teaching yoga for 5 years now, but meditation is something that has never been easy for me. I tried Kundalini back when I was doing yoga teacher training, and it just wasn't clicking for me. Fast forward to this year, it clicked. Now I absolutely crave it. Like the night before I wake up between 4 and 4:30 a.m. I do Kundalini. This morning I actually did the brighten your halo, and when I finished, I looked at my phone and it was 4:44 a.m. I was like, oh, yeah. So can you tell the listeners who you are and what you do?
Sure, yeah. So I love that you're doing meditations early in the morning. But I have a question for you first. Do you find that like you
Mhm.
can only you like it's easier for you, especially being a busy mom? Do you feel like it's easier to get up super early before everyone gets up and do it then?
Yes, I
Yeah.
need that like hour to 2 hours by myself in the morning.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of people that are kind of in that boat, but I do want to hear it like from you, just like how did you get to that place? Because I think Kundalini can scare a lot of people. Like if you don't get up at 4 a.m.,
Mhm.
you can't do anything. It's not going to work, and you're like,
Yeah.
no, you could literally do it any time of the day, and it would give you such a boost in energy. But doing it at the time you're saying is just really cool. That's like so cool to hear because you're really harnessing the power um, of the sun's rays and just the creation hours. But anyway, I am Tara Schulenberg, and I'm a co-founder of Elevate the Globe. My best friend Britt and myself co-founded this company. How long has it been now? 5 or 6 years, and we've been working together to create this beautiful like Kundalini yoga platform, and courses that really help people to elevate their energy and to activate their intuition. So we've been doing so much over the past few years. We have a number of courses out there. We have membership sites that people come in and really just like kind of every day are doing meditations to help them connect more with themselves. Because really, at this point in time on the planet, I think that's the most sort of revolutionary and rebellious thing that you could do is to
Mhm.
connect to your soul and connect to your intuition and have it guiding you, versus societal stuff guiding you, because it just leads people really off path into a lot of unhappiness. And while you can find some happiness anywhere, wherever you are, that the deterioration of the body and the mind and the psyche, a lot of that comes from being on the wrong path or listening to the wrong advice and trying to make people shoehorn people into one size fits all or one archetype. And we're not like that. And
Yeah.
we're so creative, and all of us have this power and force of Kundalini energy that we're born with at the base of our spine. And when you activate it, that creative energy moves through you, and you almost can't stop your acceleration of awareness. Kundalini yoga is called the yoga of awareness, and you just almost can't even stop that from happening. So you're sort of peeling the layers back just by activating your Kundalini, and you're seeing, you see stuff, and you see stuff in your life and your mind and your psyche and your perspective that you're like, might be hard to look at. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I
Mhm.
was doing that to myself, or I was doing that to other people, or I just thought that, wow, there's so much more out there to life. And I think that's such a blessing. And these tools are very old, they're very old tools. Yoga is very old in general, old practice. And it's really needed here in the Western world. And so
Yeah.
having a lot of us talking about it is really good. It's a really good thing. And to actually have roots where you have teachers that are from the lineages, this is the connection to it is really coming back to just the connection with earth, with Gaia, if you will, if with
Mhm.
yourself, with your body. And in this age of Aquarius, where there's so much technology and so much innovation, we have to remember to keep in contact with our body, because our body is the most innovative thing that there ever was and will ever be. It's miraculous what happens. So if we can connect to this sort of miracle every day and connect to our soul and our guides, like this is where the world starts to change, and it becomes a much better place for everyone. And so we're starting to see, I think, the consciousness of the world really understanding this in different ways, even if it's just like a little glimmer for some people. So that's what we do at Elevated Globe, is we are really a beautiful container for people to come in and practice, and to get the tools they need to work on specific things, like there's specificity, which I do like in Kundalini. So this morning you were working on your auric field, your radiant body, your 10th body. And you're just, this is a beautiful practice for you, that if you want to like really make yourself brighter and more magnetic, but if you've got like lymphatic issues, there's kriyas to move your lymph fluid. If you've got liver issues, there's kriyas to help move the detox pathways for your liver. And, there's just so many things. There's kriyas for heartbreak, meditations for the parasympathetic nervous system. It's just amazing. Like, it's a science. It's a yogic science that, has been tried and tested for thousands of years now. So it's really cool to just even experience it. Yeah.
How would you describe, or what would you describe to someone that doesn't know what Kundalini yoga is?
Totally. Oh, that's so fun. It's like, what I like to tell people about Kundalini is that in simple terms, it's like getting on a rocket ship and being able to see your destiny more clearly. And that's just more of a spiritual way of saying it, because it's really what happens. You just start to just, whoa, everything becomes really clear and pathways open. But in general, it's the yoga of awareness. It makes you really aware of yourself, your thought patterns, your relationships, your words. You start to become really aware of who you are. Now, it can look really weird. Like you see some people doing weird Kundalini stuff, like there's that Satali pranayama, you fold your tongue like a taco and you breathe in, and people are like, what are you doing? Like, you're doing it like it's a beautiful air conditioner, actually, like to cool your body down if you're really hot. But it's like, people are like, what are you doing? Or like, if I'm at the airport doing fist of anger, people think it's like super weird, what?
Oh, I was doing that one the other day. My dog was like staring at me, like moving his head like this.
Oh my God. Right. But yeah, it opens, it really is, it's different. It's for people. I think Kundalini yoga is something to try if you have a hard time meditating, if you have a hard time, even with a normal vinyasa class, that was me. I had a very hard time with vinyasa, and not that it was hard, but like, I just wanted something more. I wanted a more spiritual connection to my soul.
Right.
And I loved that vinyasa really helped me to open a lot of the nadis, right? A lot of the meridians and stuff that move through the body, and a lot more energy would flow. But I needed something that was almost deeper for myself. And like all Kundalini yoga encompasses all of the yogas. So it's got like the breath work, it's got the mantras, it's got the movement, it's got a lot of the things that you need to really like surpass the conscious mind and get into the subconscious mind and start changing patterning. So I loved when I remember sitting in my first Kundalini yoga class, and I was doing just like simple spinal twists, and I was breathing really deeply through my nose. You're activating your parasympathetic nervous system, but you're also just moving so much energy, and especially in your solar plexus. And I started getting so buzzy, and I was like, this is crazy. What is this? I started feeling high, on my own oxygen supply. And the teacher was just like, if you're he said in the middle of it, if you're feeling like a buzzing energy, that you're moving a lot of energy, you're moving and creating more of it. And I was just fascinated, just like, holy crap, I could do this for myself. And I left that class just wide-eyed. Like, what was that? Like, it was a real, like, specific technology where you're actually working on different systems of your body. And so it's a really good place for people to come if they're, again, like, they think they can't meditate. If you've got like specific things that you're working on and healing in your body, because there's kriyas to support a lot of that moving of energy and healing. And if you've got a lot of addiction, and addiction doesn't just mean alcohol or cigarettes, it can be coffee. It can be addiction to TV. It can be addiction to certain ways of reacting to people.
Yeah.
And so, it really is, it's hard to explain it to me. It's hard to explain it very simply, but it is just this, it's an incredible tool that I think if you're really pulled to, your interest is piqued, you got to go try it. I can sit here and say all of these things about it, but until you try it, I don't know what your experience is going to be like. It's going to be different for you than it is me. But just knowing that you create a lot of energy and you connect with your soul through this, and you can hear yourself more clearly, and you can heal a lot, physically, emotionally, mentally. This is that kind of yoga, and it works pretty fast, like really fast. It's like getting on a rocket ship. Yeah.
So before we started recording, I explained to you a little bit, like in March, my back went out, and I'm actually getting surgery coming up soon, but I, being like, taking care of everyone else, kept pushing myself to the side, not going to the doctor. I was getting worse and worse and worse. I have anxiety. I've had anxiety since I was a teenager. My anxiety started bubbling up in June. I was having panic attacks again, that I haven't had panic attacks in years. Okay. Elevate the Glow, like, it came up on my Instagram, your book, and the natural Xanax.
Yeah.
And I bought the book, started doing that. And it was like literally a sign I needed. Then I got manifested the abundance bundle. I did the Lion's Gate. The Lion's Gate, literally for a week and a half, I had no back pain. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I mean, I've had MRIs, like I have a severe herniated disc and fragments on my L5S1 nerve root or whatever. So I do need surgery, but like, it was amazing. Like, and so, I got Studio Intune and have been die hard every morning since then. And I'm obsessed with it now.
Yeah. But right. Isn't it like, that's incredible that you're back. You didn't have any pain for a week. Wow.
A week and a half. Yeah. And I mean, I'm in constant pain. Like I can't even do child's pose most of the time, because I can't bend forward just because of how it is. So yeah. But how did like Elevate the Globe come to be? Was it always something you were always into yoga, or it just organically happened?
Well, that's kind of I'll try to summarize that real quick for us, because it's like, you look back, and this is definitely a destination point on my destiny, right? Like we all have so many points on our destiny that, it's not always just an end game either. It's always changing and morphing. But I look back in my life, and, you can look back in your childhood and even ask your family, if your parents are still around, asking your parents or your brothers and sisters, anyone that was around you when you were younger, like, what was it that I was interested in? Like, how was I when I was a kid? And if I look back and I ask family and stuff, I was drawn to astrology and numerology before I turned like 10 years old. So, and my mom had gotten my chart and everything done and all of that when I was young. And it was just absolutely fascinating to me. One of my guy friends in high school knew that I loved this stuff so much. He gave me a numerology book for my birthday. It was like very well known that I was very into this stuff. It all started for me with astrology, and it's been there since I was a kid, that it has felt like a natural way, astrology and numbers. and looking through the meaning for the meaning and the subtleties of what's happening around me. So that's just my basis and baseline of life. Like, this is how I've always kind of been. I've always been interested in science, always been interested in space. Like, I had a boyfriend that went to space camp when he was little. And I remember, even as like a 23 or 4-year-old, I remember being so jealous. Like, holy crap, you went to space camp, you know?
Yeah.
So like, being really obsessed with the stars was always something interesting to me. And it did feel like it came naturally. Now, what happened was, Britt and myself met in high school. No, we didn't met. We met in middle school. We were like 12 years old. We met in middle school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like really young at dance class. And we just like instantly became friends. And then we kind of grew closer and closer to each other. And in high school, we did like cheer and song together. So we always really connected over movement. And so we got really close. I mean, we had like every class together at one point. Like, we were like so tight, and then college came around. We had a discussion like, hey, we're going to go our separate ways for a little while. Like, this is probably a good thing. And we started to just kind of go on our separate pathways. But we'd always see each other at Thanksgiving and Christmas. And we would start talking about like angels and like just meditating. And I started working with psychics, and I was one, of course, wanting to just know my future and what was going on. But I also was working with somebody who I still work with now that was teaching me how to read and how to read the energy and how to read the subtleties and read the spirits that were coming to me. And I started to really open up. And then I went to Britt's, like Britt and I kind of converged again with all these interests. And I saw her doing Kundalini yoga at her bachelorette party. And a lot of girls were like kind of making fun of her and stuff. And I was like, this is so silly. Like, she's like, was my wild and crazy friend. Like, she was so wild when we were young. And there was something that just totally changed in her. And I was like, what is this Kundalini she's doing? She's so passionate about it. She stumbled upon Kundalini like a couple years prior, and I had taken teacher training and hers stemmed from like, a breakup. It was like she was searching for something, and it came to her. And then, I start like, okay, I got to do this Kundalini. I got to try it. I got to try this thing. And so I go back to San Francisco, and it takes me a year. It takes me a whole year to like actually go, I'm going to go take that Kundalini class. I start thinking about it. I start researching it. I even get on like the LA, like Gurdwara newsletter. And I'm just like researching all of it, but I'm not doing it. I'm just looking at it. And then I start doing it. And within 3 months, I hear Britt's mother dies, and her mom, because I'm again working with a psychic, and there's so much else in the backstory here, but I'm working with a psychic. Her mom passes. Her mom comes to me. And I can hear her, and I know what she's saying, and I know how she's talking because I've been working with the psychic to kind of understand. And she tells me, Tara, you got to go home. She just said flat, Tara, it is time to go home. You need to be with Britt, and you need to be with your mom. And I said, okay. And it was simple, and that was it. And she hung around for like a day. And it took me a couple of months to like actually get the guts to do it. But I'd been thinking about it for years. So I get down to LA, and Britt and I are now like really reconverging here. And we start taking tons of classes at Rama together. I lived down the street from it in Venice. And she asked me, she has a 5-month-old at the time, that she wants to see this healer out in New York. And I was like, okay, well, I just went to the Philippines. I did all this stuff. I don't know. But she got on the phone with me a couple of weeks prior and said, Tara, I keep getting messages through my meditations. At this point, she's got me super hooked on morning practices, and the Kundalini is so intense for me and amazing. And she goes, I see you're supposed to be doing something with astrology, and you're not. Why are you not doing it? And I'm like, okay, Brett, whatever. Like, I don't want to do anything with astrology. And I was just kind of a bit a brat about it. And so she was telling me that, and I could feel it. I could see it, but I couldn't, I was like more, there's spirits all over me. And I was just like, I can't think about that. I've got to wade this out. Well, then she tells me, hey, I want to go see this healer. And I almost didn't go, but I was like, if Britt's telling me, if she's saying we should go, I think you should go with me. I'd like you to go with me. I was like, I think I'm supposed to go. Well, that whole weekend, and I was very skeptical about the whole thing. I was like, this isn't really, she goes, I think our whole lives are going to change after this weekend. And I'm like, oh, Britt, always the ever positive, really, like, hey, it's going to be amazing. I'm like, okay, like this, what is really going to happen, after this? Well, she was right. And our whole lives did change that weekend. And it was beyond anything that I've ever experienced. But essentially, one night after seeing this healer, again, no alcohol. I don't do drugs ever. I've barely done anything in my life. Mm-hmm. No alcohol. I would had like a Sprite or something that night, because I think my stomach was hurting a little bit. And so I remember coming home and there was just spirits all over the house and I couldn't get them to go away. And they basically came in and there was a dome that formed over the house. I can still remember exactly how it happened, how it looked, but I could physically see 6 beings in the house and I knew who they were. My soul knew who they were. It was very much a recognition. And they gave me a full opening, through my third eye, through visuals of a whole pathway for Elevate the Globe. And I didn't know, I didn't know. I had been searching. I knew, I said to the universe for about 6 months prior, I know there's something better for me out there. Couldn't imagine doing my job anymore, but I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And then it just came through, and it came through miraculously, truly. And Britt and I immediately started working together. The next day, she had already started something, but the next day we started working together, and Elevate the Globe grew so fast from there. It was like, oh, this is what we're supposed to do. And so that's how it came together. And it was very much through astrology, through Kundalini, through the intuition that was activated through all of it, that Elevate the Globe was born. And it made a lot of sense what we were doing because we were really living it, we're really living this experience. So that's what happened. It was crazy.
That's amazing. That's awesome. I got chills too when you were telling me this story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to say, do you have daily rituals or your morning routine that you do every day you could walk us through or share with us?
Yeah. And the timing, yes, I do. And the timing of it kind of changes here and there. So I right now am doing a morning practice around 7 a.m., which is when I'm getting up. So I used to be a little more rigid and would be I have to get up at 4. Well, I realized that my body was waking me up at 4, and I had a liver issue. And that's why my body was waking me up at 4 a.m. naturally. It was oh, this is amazing. And my body's you actually have issues, So now I'm really having to sleep and let my body kind of recover right now. But at 7 a.m., it kind of changes. It's always some sets of warm-ups and then a Kriya. And right now I'm really working with my guides and I'm developing a relationship with them. So I also they downloaded for me a specific chakra sequence that is not actually found in the Kundalini. It's one that they told me about, but it's not found online or anything. And I've been trying it out and it's beautiful and I'm really obsessed with it. And so I think we might probably share this with everyone because I'm getting to that point with the rituals that I have such a relationship with. I'm careful to not totally adjust. I'm not adjusting any teachings. These are new teachings. It's very much karmic thing with Kundalini. You don't change teachings, but these ones are downloaded. So I'm doing this chakra series right now. And then I do a Kriya, just a 3-part Kriya. And then I just listen to my guides. I listen and I feel, and I actually sit there and feel and process. And then I've been meditating outside for the past, all summer because it's so nice out and I love getting the sun in the morning. And I just sit there and I watch the birds. Like I like try to get as present as possible
Mm-hmm.
in the moment. And so, for me, this practice is right now about activating all of my chakras and moving through obstacles and getting really present with my guides and nature. And it's like allowing so much clarity to come through. But the way we teach is like do something for 40 days. Like if you're starting out new, do something for 40 days and see what happens, see what changes happen. Also, you don't need to start with doing a whole hour, 2 hours of sadhana or a
Yeah.
morning practice. You can start with 3 minutes of breathing, breath of fire, ego eradicator. It doesn't have to be so overwhelming if you're starting something new. I remember when I started every single day after I brushed my teeth, or it was like right before I had breakfast, or it was in between breakfast and brushing teeth, that I would sit down for 3 minutes and I would do breath of fire, ego eradicator. And I would then talk to my guides and I'd feel into the energy field around me. And I would say, I'm going to show up 100% today. Whatever you guys have coming at me, I'll be there. I'll show up. Just show me where to go. Show me who you want me to talk to. I'm open. Let's go. I'm here. And I was very open as a vessel. And that's what I'm kind of doing now, but a little bit different, where it's like
Yeah.
a little bit more protection because there were so many things that came through, a little more protection. But now I'm like, I'm practicing this feeling of being in the present moment. It's changing my whole life. It's crazy in like a month and a half. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I've been trying to work like probably for 2 years, like with my guides and spirit guides and calling on my angels, and nothing was happening.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sitting here like doing all these things and nothing. And then when my back went out and I can't work out, I can't do HIIT. So I start walking outside all summer long. All of a sudden I start seeing like my spirit guide, I start seeing butterflies all the time. I'm seeing, angel numbers all the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what people say that is, but I was thinking it's supposed to be like I'm supposed to see a person.
Yeah.
But I feel like I get goosebumps now when I go on my walk and I see like 3 butterflies flying around or something like that. It was just like I literally needed to slow down and be present.
Yeah, no, it's that's the name of the game. Like actually
Mm-hmm.
people would say a lot, like I used to get a lot of flack for like slow, like let's like slow down. Like, it doesn't like slow down to speed up. That's really what
Mm-hmm.
that means. It's like when you can access everything exists only right now. Like whenever you guys are listening to this, the future that you see is not guaranteed. The dark future you see is not guaranteed. Nothing is. It is all about the choices you make in this very moment. So it's great to have a future that you're moving towards. But if you avoid every single choice and every single brick on the pathway that you have to lay to bridge yourself from here to there, you're never going to get there. Or you're going to get there, but it's going to be a little different. Or you're going to feel like kind of shitty about it. Or you're going to feel freaking exhausted, and
Yeah.
just like you arrived and were like going through a war zone, and it will rip apart your body. And it can be really easy. It's like you just create from here, and like finding that peace and activating the key here with the yoga is to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. When your body is relaxing, all of your glands are secreting properly, and you're able to actually access rest and relaxation where presence is. So that's why a lot of yoga is about like getting yourself to relax, because that's where you can
Mm-hmm.
hear all your guides are there, at that like peaceful energy. So like listening is like a lot of times if you can't hear, you're going too fast. You're going too fast. So you need more energy. Like if you've got a crazy frazzled mind, you need
Yeah.
you need more energy to be able to rise above that swing, right? So anytime you're frazzled, you need to do some breath work or something that gives you more energy. And if you can create it in your body versus putting something in your body, even better.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you can get to that place because you think like high vibe is like more energy and you're going to be more crazy. No, it means that you're going to be able to actually rise above, and almost like you're getting on a boat after you've been in calm seas, after you've been ripped around in a storm without a life jacket. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I can relax for a second and see what's actually happening. Yeah. That's what I love about this yoga in general, is like this, it does this kind of thing for people where, oh my God, I can access relaxation. And when you can access relaxation, your body works properly and you can hear where you need to
Yeah.
go. And then you can be
Mm-hmm.
present and go, oh, I have enough energy actually to take that next step. I don't have to sit here worrying about it. I can actually just go do it right now. And then I'll listen for the next step and I'll just go do that one. And you can almost make it an experiment for yourself. Like, if I listen to my intuition and I actually take action on it, I wonder where it will lead me, and just see what happens. So,
I love that.
like what if you did that every day where you're like, oh, okay, my intuition's telling me to go down to this duck pond. I don't know why, but I'm just going to do it anyway. I'm not going to get in the way of it. Maybe you'd meet
Mm-hmm.
somebody, maybe you'd have some sort of experience, or, who knows what would happen. Maybe you would have just the sounds and, everything converging. Maybe that was right where you needed to be to like get a realization, or maybe some peace, from busy, crazy life. I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. No one knows. Your intuition tells you something. We'll go see what it's trying to lead you to. It's like a fun treasure hunt. It's like The
Yeah.
Alchemist, kind of that book.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So astrology, this is something I was always into, like my horoscope, but not until like, probably the past 2 years. I've really been into more of like the moon cycles too, and the new moon and the full moon. And my daughters and I do like a new moon ritual, or like charge our crystals in the full moon. Um, can you tell us a little bit more about this? And I know, okay, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, but we were just in Virgo season, right? Are we still, or with the new moon it changed?
No, we're still in Virgo season. Yeah.
Okay, we're still in
Mm-hmm.
Virgo season. And then the full moon is September 10th,
10th.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Mercury's going into retrograde soon. What
It
is
goes,
always
yeah, go
this
ahead.
what I know everyone, like the memes and stuff are about like Mercury into retrograde and stuff. What does it do? Like, why are people afraid of it, or not afraid of it, but like the memes like are joking about
Well, yeah, it's
it?
it's kind of silly, truly. Here's the thing. These are things like when you're not quite aware of your ability to create and your ability
Hmm.
to choose, it's easy for like the hijacking of consciousness to go, we're gonna tell everyone that it's gonna be, we're like the like fear and all of that. And
Yeah.
the feeling of lack of control goes, I'm gonna get in there and we're gonna make everyone think that for 3 weeks during Mercury retrograde, you can't do anything and you're gonna have the worst time. Right. It's like this way to escape reality for people, and having a choice. And I like totally understand that. And it is funny. Like the memes are funny because you do have an
Hmm.
experience that's a little bit wonky a lot of times. Right. And the reason it's a little wonky is because, Mercury is the closest planet to the sun and it moves really fast. Right. It moves quickly. And so when it's retrograde, what that means is it's not actually moving backwards. It's just appearing to be slowing down. It's just appearing that way. And so in that sense, like our Mercury represents commerce,
Hmm.
communication, travel. It represents the like lower mind, if you will, the lower mind of, just the like chit chat and the exchange of ideas that, we're not going super into depth about things like Mercury rules Gemini, and Gemini is, I have a ton of Gemini friends. If you have them as well, you probably know they ask like 20 questions about everything. It's just like, I need to know all the details about every single thing. I don't want to know, your feelings behind it so much. And I just want to know, like, I need to be able to paint a picture, right, through
Hmm.
experience. And so it, like, in a way, Mercury rules details. And what happens when it's slowing down, you start to like commerce can kind of get wonky and slow down. People aren't making as very clear decisions as they normally would. It's like, because they can't quite see it. Travel then can get kind of wonky. Like it's almost like the wires get crossed a little bit. And same thing about like signing contracts and things. Like you could just not be seeing as clearly. You could be missing something. So when Mercury slows down, it's actually an opportunity to like get really present and slow your like mental chatter down and go, let me actually review everything that I've done for the last few months and anything that I'm about to do. Let me just like really review this and take a bit more time with it, go over all the details. If you started a project before Mercury goes retrograde, it's a great time to actually dive deeper into the details and work some of it out and close up some loops.
Okay.
So it's like a really cool time to actually clean house in a way, right? To clean house, to tie things up, to just have those like refinements. But the, larger world likes to have more fun and says like, it's going to make your life terrible. And you're like, well, it might, right? Because you might find a mistake that you made and now you have to fix it. Or you might have to like wait because your plane got delayed and that's annoying, but who knows what all of that reshuffling is going to do for you. And maybe you're going to meet cool people that you wouldn't have met. Or, you're going to have the right taxi driver when you get there instead of the one you were going to have before. And now they've given you 4 or 5 restaurant recommendations that you wouldn't have had. And now you go to the restaurant and you meet the love of your life or a new business partner or a new friend. And you're just like, just relax, like let it all happen, So Mercury retrograde is really cool. If you can look at life as like this place of choices and not this place of like burdens, that as you have more energy in your body, that's why we practice the Kundalini. When you're faced with challenges, faced with things that are annoying and struggling, you can just face it and have more of a solution-oriented mind. And it's just easier to move through things.
Yeah. Because I always hear that. And then I hear like with the full moon, like kids are more hyper. And things like that. Is that true? Because I have teacher friends and they say their students are more hyper. Active,
I think that is very true.
Moon.
Don't you? I mean, is that your experience?
My youngest is 11 and she is. I can tell.
I mean, even the animals, like my dog gets a little wild and like doesn't sleep very well on full moons and new moons, just a bit more heightened. It's, to think that the planetary bodies around us don't have as much pull or influence as we think, or as we are willing to see. It's I think very silly. Like, of course there's going to be a pull on all the planetary like bodies in the solar system. Everything's pulling on each other. Everything's magnetizing in this perfect formation. So when one planet retrogrades or one moves into a new constellation and we move cosmic weather, of course the things are going to be a little different. But astrology is, to me, this beautiful tool to understand kind of the energy flowing to the earth and flowing to us, so that we can utilize it, that we know what maybe some challenges would be. It gives us almost like a guidepost of like, okay, I'm going to like, this is kind of the menu I'm working with today, this week, this month. And okay, I'm going to work with this and I'm going to still do me. Like, I don't have to be like a, super like succumb to all the ups and the downs of astrology. It's a great tool to just know those things are happening. But the ultimate goal is to like rise above the cosmic weather, that like you've got enough control of your own psyche that when Mercury is retrograde and you have enough energy to like see it and like know how to navigate it's like driving a car, right? Like you just know how to navigate through certain types of weather. Like maybe with snow, when there's snow and you're going up a mountain, you're probably going to slow down and you're probably going to pull off the side of the road. If you don't have snow tires, you've got chains in the car. If you don't have chains, you're going to go back down or just going to wait out for a minute and figure out another plan or go around, right? You just know how to deal with things a bit more and it doesn't irk you as much, and you're not a victim because you're like, oh, I can get myself out of this, or I know how to move beyond this and still go where I want to go. Even if I'm like, there's like 5 people telling me no. All right, I'm going to go this way because I'm still going to get there. I'm still going to get over the mountain, but maybe I have to go around if you're all telling me no, whatever. So,
yeah. I ask all my guests this question. Is there like besides Kundalini and yoga meditation, do you have any other self-care practices that you do?
Yeah. The big one for me now is I'm walking a lot, like about not even outside. I'm honestly walking on that treadmill. I'm just walking like an hour on the treadmill. Because for a long time, I wasn't really able to work out. Like I haven't really told a ton of people about this, but I've been going through a health journey. And I haven't been that well. And because I haven't been listening to myself as much as I should.
Yeah.
And like I got out of alignment. I did. And so things like for a good reason though, because I do feel like now what I'm focused on is like really watching my food. So I'm healing my relationship with food and using food kind of improperly, where I was just using it like as a kind of a crutch or a distraction. Also to just like make me feel better because I was learning how to have safety in my own self, but I didn't know how to do that. And so through that, I was using food as comfort and also just like not really taking care of my physical body. And so I like, even through all the yoga and all the food and stuff, when you get out of alignment and you're not listening deep enough because you're taking care of everyone else and everything else, you can get out of alignment. And so that's what I'm like, the food is really helping me right now. Like really just a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, medical medium celery juice, and just like paying attention to that and like almost developing a new relationship with my body. And really being nice to myself. Like for my whole life, I've really been mean to my body. And so, I now, anytime I feel I had to like actually get into this, I never thought I'd get to this place where anytime I'm feeling kind of off or weird, my subconscious literally starts telling me, I love you so much, Tara. You're so amazing. Like you're doing so well. Like it's okay to rest. It's all right. Just relax. You're like amazing. I love you so much. And I'm like, whoa, it just automatically starts happening because I just made a lot of peace with my own body. Like I always had body hate. And I look back and I'm like, through the food issue, I gained like 10 pounds and I was like losing myself. Right. And I freaking needed to, because I was not very nice to myself. So a lot of like food and like making peace with my body, and walking. Cause honestly, that's all I can really handle like on a daily basis right now is walk like a little uphill for a good, hour. And that's what I'm doing. And I love Pilates and I love spin class, but like it's a little too much for me right now. So I think it's like my self-care is like being really easy on myself and still moving energy and still healing stuff, but not beating myself up every time that, maybe I have it's like something I shouldn't have. It's like, I'm not supposed to eat gluten. It's like, so sometimes I do. And it's like, it's okay. It's okay. Be nice. Just be nice. So that's my biggest self-care thing right now is actually like, it's a relationship with myself that I'm developing that's different. So
thank you for sharing that. I've been a vegetarian since I was little, like 4 or 5, and then plant-based since like for the past 10 years. Past 2 years since, everything going on, I started binging on junk food, like cookies, like that had dairy and stuff in that. And I have no idea where that came from. I mean, probably with my anxiety, like we were stuck at home with the kids and stuff, but like, so the past year I've been like sugar and stuff just doesn't work with me. It makes my anxiety worse. So I've been trying, you know, not beating myself up with that. So I kind
Yeah.
of like resonate with you, because I was saying like, we don't own a scale in our house, so I don't weigh myself, but I, you know, like why I never really ate junk food growing up. It just wasn't a thing for me. So I'm like, why now am I binging on it? But I'm just loving myself. Like, it's okay. You're using it as something else. Let's just, you know, take care of the other issue, what you're using it for. You know, is it like stress eating, you know, something like that. So trying to send myself love with that. So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing yours.
That's like, you know, I think a lot of people go through that, but like it, to me, don't you feel like it has to do with like feelings, like kind of just shoving
Yeah.
feelings down? You're
hmm
like, these are too painful to deal with. I will just eat. And then you eat
Yeah.
and you just feel so,
hmm
oh, like, you know, like that wasn't what I need. I just want to feel. And you hear this
Yeah.
all the time, like people who lose a lot of weight or just feel even without the weight, it's like even just feel like more energized by like feeling deeply a lot of emotions that they just haven't processed at all.
hmm
So it's like such a, like if you can learn how to do that, like, you know, it's just, you just kind of curb a lot of like disease that
Yeah.
potentially could be forming, because it's all just like
Yeah.
stuck energy. Anyway.
Where can all the listeners find you?
Yeah, so they can find me and Britt at elevatetheglobe.com or elevate the globe on Instagram. And we have Studio Intune on Instagram. It's studio_Intune. And then we also have it's also intunekundalini.com is how you can join Intune if you're interested. We have a 14-day free trial. We also have our beautiful book, Good Morning
Yes.
Intentions. Yeah.
I
And
love that. I have it right here with me.
do you?
It's like, it's always on my desk. So yeah.
Oh, I love it. And which one are you like sticking to one right now, or are you kind of
Yeah, I'm doing
perusing?
well, I'm sticking with natural Xanax.
Okay.
But then I started looking at the other ones, like the comparison one.
Mhm.
And then I also have the magnet for miracles.
Okay,
I like.
awesome. That one's good. I like that one for sure.
hmm
Um,
Do you have a
yeah, and
favorite in your book?
well, I mean, I like all of them.
hmm
I think the Gold Rush is probably one of my favorites. But the natural Xanax was like probably what the book was all sort of written around in general.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the one of the first that came through. And especially because we just felt like so many of us on this planet are just overwhelmed with the amount of stuff we've got going
hmm
on. And especially like women or people who are caretakers of children and just anyone in your life.
Yeah.
The business owners that are really just kind of doing stuff or like have really wild jobs, right? We've all got a lot of anxiety more than we ever have. I think there's been
hmm
like studies that, and you can't quote me on this as actually being real, but that we have like some incredible amount more of anxiety or the same amount of anxiety as like somebody in the 50s that would have been in a mental hospital. Like
Oh,
we have
wow.
way more going on than ever before,
Yeah.
which means we can make progress more than we've ever made. But anyway, I think that one's really helpful. And I like the drink that's in it as well with the magnesium.
hmm
Yeah. So I would say that one, but yeah, there's so many. There's one for heartbreak and, you know, one to attract love in there. There is one for business specifically. And, you know, there's so many. There's one for masculine energy, feminine energy. So yeah, there's a lot to peruse from.
I know. I drink the magnesium drink with the kombucha every morning now.
Do you? How has it made you
Yeah.
feel? Are you sleeping a little
It
better?
I am. I can fall asleep better at night. So my oldest is 14, so she's just started high school. So she goes to bed really late still. So I still hear her, but I can calm myself so much better at night. And what I notice, the mornings I forget to drink it, by noon, I'm like already like, like more agitated, not
Oh,
agitated, quicker to react than
okay.
when I do drink it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That kind of calm, it helps you calm down.
mhm,
Mhm.
yeah.
Right.
Well,
Well, that's
thank
cool.
you so much for joining us today. Seriously, thank you so much. This was so enlightening and such a pleasure to meet you and have you on.
Thank you so much. This was wonderful. And I'm so glad we got to connect.
Me too. Thank you. All right.